Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. So, as we close another transformative year of Thoughtful Thursdays, we end with a theme that touches every one of us, the conversations we never have but always carry. Those words we rehearse in our minds, the truths we soften, the feelings we tuck behind care, the silence we mistake for peace. So, in today's session, we are honored to host Vedika Casey, a reflective and deeply empathetic coach who believes that growth begins with awareness. With 2 decades in corporate environments and years of holding space for leaders and teams, Vedika brings a presence shaped by unlearning, courageous reflection, and rediscovering her own voice. So, in today's session, we will explore with Vedika why the hardest conversations are often the ones we avoid, how unspoken words shape our relationships, work, and identity, and tools to embrace presence and open space for the conversations that matter. And last but not the least, insights from her book, Unexplored Conversations, a tender exploration of what remains unsaid in families, friendships, workplaces, and within ourselves. So, this session is an invitation to pause, to notice, to listen inward, and to gently step into the words that we want to be spoken. So thank you very much, Vedika, for joining us today. And we are looking forward to an insightful, exciting, and courageous session. Courageous because I think unexplored conversations, like you have mentioned in your book, I think it takes a lot of courage to do so. So over to you.
Thank you, Varundeep, and thank you all the participants who have joined with us today evening. And as Varundeep is saying that it's the last Thursday of this year, I think 2025. Is this the last Thursday of your program?
No, not. But the in terms of sessions, we are having this. We are ending the session with this powerful session.
Okay, so unexplored conversations or having the hardest conversations is your last session on this Thoughtful Thursdays. I hope that today you carry something that in new year that you have that strength and courage and you find that space to have these difficult or hard conversations. Varundeep has given a very big introduction of me, a little bit from my end. I come from Mumbai. I'm a hard Mumbai girl. Right now, I am located and placed in Abu Dhabi from last 6 years. Full name is Vedika Katwani Chanka. I'm a professional certified coach with ICF, systemic team coach, corporate and soft skills trainer, and now formally, officially, I can call myself a published author. The book you can see on the screen. There are two books. So Shaken State but Not Deterred is the one in which I have co-authored, and the Unexplored Conversation is the book solely published, own published book. It is available on now available worldwide on Amazon, Notion, Flipkart, even the ebook format. So go ahead, grab your copy. And how would you like me to start, Varundeep? Should I tell you about what is about unexplored conversation, or do you have any question where I can answer on this?
I mean, maybe we can start with the unexplored conversations concept and how it is helpful and how people can uh, explore and take that courage to explore on these conversations.
Absolutely. So what are conversations? Conversation is a uh, space hold between two people, two or more people, where you talk, where you express your feelings, your intentions, your perspectives. These are the conversations. Uh, why unexplored conversations? Because what I found that most of us, we don't avoid conversations because we don't know what to say. Uh, we avoid them because we don't know what we are feeling or what we are allowed to feel, and this is only related to the hard feelings and the difficult feelings which we have. Unexplored conversations live in that space between what we feel and what we want to say. Unexplored conversation is about those moments that we carry quietly, the words we edit, we postpone, or silence, and how or actually that they start to slowly shape our relationships, choices, and even the sense of self. It comes from a very personal space from my life, where I always notice that whenever there is a hard feeling, whenever there is something kind of in confrontation, or expressing something hard or difficult, my parents would avoid it. My elders would avoid it. Even when I was I started working at some places, the managers would avoid the difficult conversations. When I started the relationship, the partner started to avoid the hard conversations. Siblings will avoid hard conversations because they don't want you to feel bad or offend, and feelings like that. So it came from that place, that why do we avoid all these conversations. For me, it is actually important to have hard conversations because it affects you so much. Because you should be expressing what you are feeling, what are your intentions, what do you want to do, and why do you want to do that. Instead of having that candid conversation, people normally push it under the rug. But again, the reason is not because they don't love you, because they want to avoid you. The reasons are that there is a fear of conflict, fear of offend someone, fear of uh, being misunderstood, being judged. This is what I have found. These are some reasons where why do we avoid these hard conversations. Now, why is it important, as you asked, that so if you explore the unexplored conversations, why is it important? Is exploring the unexplored conversations matter because this book, it will tell you, it will show you that it creates a safe and inner and outer space for expression. And many times relationships don't suffer because of disagreement. They suffer because feelings and intentions were never expressed in the right language, in the right way, in the right tone. And when we don't have the words, when you avoid this conversation, when you put it under the rug, as I say, what happens is silence takes over. The gaps widen without anyone noticing, or even noticing but not expressing. Feelings stay unnamed, intentions stay unclear, meanings get assumed rather than understood. And when you say unexplored, explore the unexplored. Exploration is not about speaking impulsively. It's about finding, first of all, that space that where you can speak your mind, your heart. Also about finding the language that reflects both feeling and intention. So when you explore conversation, it allows you to bridge the gap before they turn into distance, by choosing the right words that connect, right, rather than protect. And when you explore, it give you a chance to align what you feel, what you intend, what you express. And when feeling, intention, expression don't meet, then confusion fills the gap. But when they meet, there's a good conversation. uh, Even in coaching and leadership spaces, I have noticed something which is very consistent is that clarity rarely breaks the relationship, but silence definitely does. So this is, for me, this is why it is important to explore the unexplored conversations, and what you will find when you will read it. Varundeep?
Yeah. So, Vedika, like you mentioned, so how do we actually figure out how unexplored conversations need a kind of exploration? Do you have anything? Because I am sure as human beings, we have a lot of things which we wanted to say, but sometimes it is said that not said are the wisest cause, or silence is golden at certain times. So, how do you recommend or figure out that what conversations should get explored?
For me, every conversation should get explored. First of all, whatever is in your mind, there should be a space, a safe space enough to express yourself. Again, I will give my example. If I am happy or satisfied or content with something my partner has done, I go ahead and express with a thank you or anything, that okay, you helped me. Thank you for your support. Because you supported, I was able to do that. Or even in these small things, household chores. It gives me a little bit of time for myself when there is a support. And when there is something which I do not like, which hinders in my thinking or my kind of an working, because we share this space, this is a relationship, lifelong relationship, because there is something which I am not comfortable, I want to express that I am not comfortable. I'm not saying that I am not ready to work on it, or that compromise which we call in relationships, but I actually at least want to go ahead and express that this is what I do not like this thing, or I prefer it in this way. And there should be a space where the other person is also able to express openly to you that what is their perspective, and then you find a middle way. So it applies to everyone, father mother, father son, mother daughter, siblings, friends, neighbors, your colleagues, your manager and you, your partner and you, even with yourself. There are so many things which you don't even, accept to yourself. So many times, women come to me, and when they explore in the coaching space, uh, it comes out that they want a break, they want a pause to actually audit what is happening, to see why is it happening, and then to work on it. But when we come to that point that okay, you need a break, the question comes, how can I take a break? That's a big question I have been coming through, especially with the women, even with men. The permission for yourself to do something, to feel something. In our Asian culture, I have seen specifically when you ask someone, how are you? They'll say, I'm fine. But in Western culture, I have actually seen, even when, I do these webinars, we meet in coaching spaces with other people, I meet people globally. And then when there is a check-in, okay, how are you feeling today when you are coming into this coaching session, or into this webinar or into this training session, they actually say, I am very tired today. I am not feeling well today. There is something happened at my home, so my mental space is not that great today. Maybe probably I will be only observing and not participating. They are very expressive in that way, but we don't express, we don't even accept to ourselves that we are not feeling good today, or we are not feeling well today. We just say that yes, we are feeling okay. So the acceptance is the first thing,
Okay.
the awareness.
Yeah. So, like you said that, okay, to express yourself freely. But what I have seen in, especially talking about the corporate culture, while we can somehow gather or muster the courage to ask the questions which we had and the conversations which are somewhere lying hidden, but there could be consequences and repercussions, right? So in that way, like, how do you prepare for those conversations? Because like, if the conversations were not done, obviously there was something at risk, something that was making you fearful of not exploring it further. So how do you recommend or suggest how such conversations should get explored when there can be material or financial consequences, like somebody questioning the board or somebody questioning his or her uh, manager, and ultimately getting into a kind of a tight spot.
See, first of all, when you say that there will be consequences if something is not done, that means that conversation should happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
If there are some consequences if that conversation doesn't happen. Now, when you come into this professional setups, definitely you need to have that effective communication. For me, what I have learned, and I have been on the other side, when I have spoken very impulsively and had that consequences. I was star when I was working with this corporate, my performance and all, but my communication was very weak. I was very blunt. I would express directly. But what I have learned in the years is, you have to address the issue, not the person. Again, if you are talking to a board or if you're talking to your manager and something is your perspective, you have to keep your perspective in that manner on that situation. Not that your manager is wrong, not that the board is wrong. So present the situation, probably you must have heard about when you go to the interview, there are some techniques to answer the question like the star format, the scan format, and the SOAR format. There are many this thing. What is the situation? What result do you want? What are your intentions? What do you want to say? And I mean the frame in that way in which you are not blaming the other person, you're not blaming or taking onus on you. You are describing the situation, challenges, and probably if this thing is if one decision one is taken, then what are the results, and if decision two is taken, then what are the results. Show them the positive and negative of the decisions to the organization or to the team, not to the person. Because in organization setup, there it is not one person who is running the organization. So if something happens, uh, it's not you, or it's not your baby, or it's not your manager's baby. It's the overall shared responsibility. So for me, this is the way I now I do. When after becoming coach, after having this long journey of last 5 6 years, learning about more about communication and how to have a conversation, this is what this approach I adopt. Probably, there are many other approaches which someone can take as per their situation, as per, as you said, when you are talking to board, you just cannot say what is in your mind. You'll have to frame it properly. So it also depends upon, to whom you're talking.
Mhm. And what do you think that usually the emotional and cognitive biases that come in way while we are exploring some difficult conversations?
So again, you're already saying that there is a bias.
Mm-hmm.
Probably your experience with that person in, in a previous situation or in a previous conversation.
Mm-hmm.
uh, if Probably if they are your managers and if they have disregarded your suggestion or promotion or something, those kind of a things. Again, you when you go to a person and it doesn't happen what you are suggesting, what you want, then that kind of an cognitive thing can come, that kind of a bias can come. But then again, then awareness is needed. Again, scan it, audit the situation, what is required, in whose favor that decision you want, whatever you want, is it in your favor or is it in in the organization's favor, is it in the team's favor?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of an awareness definitely has to be enhanced. It doesn't come by default to
Mm-hmm.
everyone, at least.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, Vedika, since you also have a corporate background, so if I would say, talking about your book, if there is one insight that you would want the CIO, CTOs to remember, what it would be?
From my book Insight.
Yeah.
Okay. I can say two things. One is that when you feel uncomfortable having some conversation or expressing something, it is actually a sign that you have to have that. Once you feel uncomfortable, that means it is required. Now you, whichever format you find out for which is the best thing for you to do, audit, scan, how will other person feel, blah blah blah, that can be taken in a different this thing. Another insight I can tell you is, it stems from expectations. Most many unexplored conversations are actually unexamined expectations. We often expect the understanding without articulation. We expect ourselves that if we stay silent but still we want to be understood. We expect others to read our emotional cues. So these kind of an uncontracted things will definitely, lead to stress, lead to these kind of an conversations which are ignored. So again, audit. This is my mantra. Uh, keep auditing yourself, keep auditing your relationships, not like it audit in an audit format, but what is happening. If something good is happening, very good. If there is some challenge, some struggle, sit with the person, talk, or at least talk with yourself, write down what is the challenge, where is it coming from, is this expectation spoken, is this expectation shared, is this expectation assumed? Am I assuming that someone is expecting from me? You are sitting in your office till 7 p.m. and then you are saying that your manager is not giving you promotion. You worked hard, you worked late, but did really your manager, did he or she told you that you have to sit till 7 o'clock? Is this assumed, or is this spoken kind of an expectation? So audit that, and then when expectations, you audit them, you see which are, now some expectations are good, some expectations can carry you, but some expectations weigh you down. So in my book, you will even see a concept in the last chapter, called expectation detox. I even have a free webinar every 3 months, and the upcoming webinar is in January. I will put the link for a sign up form in the chat box. uh, so what we do is we try and detox the expectations which weigh you down. Now, how do you detox? Of course, first you have to audit where is it coming and all, and then what you have to do. Is it coming from yourself? Is it your self expectation? Then what can you do about it? If it is from someone else, but you're not able to, live up to that, if that is stressing you, then how these boundaries can be created to make you, de-stress and make you at peace.
Mhm. Right. So thank you, Vedika. Do you have any tips for exploring further on these unexplored conversations and not to regret having those conversations later?
Again, it really depends upon that person. Where is he or she coming from? What is the background? What's their culture? It really depends on that. That is what I have learned. What simple things definitely everyone can do is pause before the conversation. Again, audit, pause, reflect. What are you really feeling? What outcome do you want, and or what outcome are you attached to? In whose favor is that? How important is that reflection? Once you do, you will be actually able to have that kind of a conversation. Another one is, normally I give this to my clients, is 3A formula. It starts from awareness. First, again, the awareness will come once you audit it. You can say 4A, audit. Once you audit, then you will become aware that what is happening. Uh, like, okay, are you holding something back? What is affecting you? Why is it affecting you? Then accept it that something is affecting me. Something is affecting me. If my partner is awake up till 2 o'clock in the night and I go to sleep, say at 10 o'clock, it affects me that, he's awake. Now, when you have that conversation, he will say, I am not disturbing you, I'm in a different room. But then I normally go and express, I am upset that you are awake till 2 a.m. in the morning, because I know that it can affect your health. So I am worried about you. That's my intention when I'm telling you that do not be awake till 2 a.m. So that kind, first you have to accept, aware, accept, and then take the action. So this is my 3A formula. Normally, again, expectation check. Are you sharing this? Are you silently expecting this? Are you communicating what you are expecting? Don't just assume that other person will know what you know. I have actually heard many, many, many couples specifically that it's been 10 years and the other person doesn't know what I want. It doesn't work like that. because in those 10 years you have also grown, the other person has also grown, the thinking has grown, the perspective has grown, the choices have now can be different. So it's okay to communicate what you like or what you don't like. And you have to give permission to be incomplete or imperfect. If you are even thinking that having conversation will resolve everything, no, not every conversation actually needs a resolution. Some are okay for only expression level, and not necessary that even if you have hard conversation or a difficult conversation there will be a resolution. Some only need recognition also, acknowledgement also, but at least express. That's the first step.
Right. So thank you, Vedika, for such an insightful information. And I'm sure people will try exploring a lot of conversations that they have just had with themselves, not with the actual person they wanted to. I will now open the floor for questions. If anybody has any uh, questions, please share. You can put it in chat or you can raise your hand. I can unmute.
I have put two links in the chat box. One is about the free resources. So when we were saying the tips, there is a workbook, free workbook on my website, which is called The Conversations We Avoid. So it's a self-assessment, just a 3 page, a few questions. You can answer yourself what conversations are you holding back and how important is it, and what elements you can see. It's a very self-explanatory assessment. Another link is, again, as I said, that expectation detox webinar happens every 3 months. It's free. We do audit and all everything. And then uh, this webinar is upcoming in January 2026, probably after 10 January. The date is not fixed, but you can sign up. Okay, some people are saying that no link is seen.
Okay,
Varundeep, can you check this
yeah, yeah,
HTTP?
yeah, 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 because you posted it, have to post it to everyone. By default,
Ah,
it is,
okay. I
yeah,
have, okay, done only to you, right?
yeah, 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 it is visible to me. You
Okay.
can select everyone, and then let me.
All right. Let me do that, everyone. Okay. So this is the link for free resources, and this is the link for free webinar.
Right, great. So, Vedika, we have a question in the question Q&A box. This is
Mhm.
from Vijay Basu. He says, how as a manager we can have difficult conversations, especially when giving tough feedback to employees.
Well, excellent question, Vijay. Um, Again, I have only one suggestion or guidance. Now, again, it depends on you. How is your relation? How much your employees trust you when you give them feedback? There are many methods of feedback. You must have come across the sandwich feedback that, start with appreciation, acknowledgement, what the other person has done. And then where you want to give that hard feedback, express the situation, explain the situation, what was required, what was delivered, and how it affected the team and the organization's goal, and what can be done better. And again, close with a thank you that whatever period of time they have been working with you, I'm very sure that if you are so afraid of giving hard feedback, probably that person is important or kind of an old in your organization. That's why, there's this fear of having a hard feedback, giving hard feedback is coming. Read about this, how to give hard feedback. uh, Explain them that this is affecting the team's performance. That's why this thing is coming. Avoid saying how is it affecting to the team. Have a collaborative sentences. uh, the thumb rule in communication is do not use that you did that, because of you it happened. uh, Another thumb rule is, when you are having a feedback or a communication, is I feel that. Don't say that you did wrong. You say I felt bad when it happened. So you are expressing how you are feeling. So in that way, in professional way, you can say that the team had this kind of a hit or had this kind of an situation. when this was not delivered? Or if any behavior is there, any example is there that what happened with that behavior, how other person felt, then you can do that also. I hope I answered your question.
Right. So, Vijay, is your question answered? You want some more clarification? Yeah, he said, yeah. Okay. Any other question? Anyone?
Until someone writes an answer, I know that Varundeep have been reading my book. I would like to invite Varundeep also to say a few words that what resonated with you, where have you reached in the book, how many chapters, and what did you like, or something, anything
Yeah.
you want to share with
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
with audience.
Right. So, Vedika, like you shared today also, first is the importance of having those conversations which have been unexplored. That has been the key highlight, which I think, and today's session also figured it out. And like you said, that the triple A formula, while it is not explicitly mentioned, it is like it is obvious. Like if those conversations are not explored, it is having a toll on you also. It is not that that conversation is not happening, you are not impacting anybody, but the largest or the biggest impact is happening to you. And how those decisions or some conversations actually change the course of your life, that is also pretty evident. So I'm left with two chapters. I think I will be finishing it off soon, but I think
Any
it is.
up until now, anything favorite or any quote you liked or a character which you felt like, okay, I have been there, either
Yeah.
of the side of the conversation.
Yeah, there have been quite a few. I have written it down. I don't have those handy, but it is there. But like we discussed earlier, Vedika, so from today's session, if there are any key takeaways, key summaries, and you put it on the social media or share with Vedika, probably will Vedika will give away a copy of her book, Unexplored Conversations, and I think top three people will get those copies. So, any questions, any queries, anything that you wish to share? Right. I think there are no questions. Okay, Vijay Kumar Tandreja has raised his hand. Vijay, I'm allowing you to speak. Please unmute yourself and you can ask the question.
Hi, Vedika.
Hello.
Yeah, I just wanted to check that nowadays, increasingly, what I'm finding is it's becoming difficult to keep up with the expectations of your family members because of the sheer peer pressure. And I think that's a lot of that is happening because of increase in wealth uh, of people, especially in a country like India. So what is happening is that children are getting into that peer pressure and start comparing. Okay, see what so and so's family is doing. They are roaming in swanky cars. They are buying big houses, etc., and all that. So I think this is. I'm sure this will resonate with many of the other people also attending the session. Is that how do you sort of manage these kind of expectations?
It's a very tough question, Vijay, and I really understand that where is this coming from. I have been there for some, at least for some period of time. Definitely it comes into my book also that how, so you will find a chapter where there are two friends, one journey but different definition of success. They actually, one reach to the success, one doesn't. And then there is a quiet comparison, there's a peer comparison, specifically, when you nowadays you put all these things on social media. So how do they have this conversation and what happens? You can definitely read it. But to answer your question again, uh, I think it depends on the whole family. Even if you are only a family of three or four, uh, as the main person, as the bread earner, you have to sit together and probably make goals that what this family wants. like you do in your organization, and then how to reach that goals. What I have seen is, this is again for me. I come from a middle class family background. We were three. We are three siblings. My father was the only person who would earn. Now we also had so many things we wanted, but we did not get. What happens is you don't tell your children everything. Elders actually think that if we tell them what is our salary, what is our income, we don't have to tell this to children. But if you really do, if you really do, think what happens. If you're earning 10 lakhs in a year, and if you really put a chart in front of your family, this is just my thinking, and of course, see if what I'm just putting this idea on a table. If you're earning, say, 10 lakhs in a year, and you're making this chart, what are your expenses? Out of that 10 lakhs, your fees, your children's fees, the medical fees, the LICs, the medical insurances, miscellaneous, the festivals, etc., etc., then what is remaining? And some part of it definitely, for future, the rainy days. Then what comes? uh, the family should be supportive, definitely, but having an open conversation at least will allow them to see that why you are saying no, or if something is not happening, what is the reason of that. Then again, another thing is when you're saying that the comparison is there, that other person has car or iPhone or mobile or iPad and I don't have. I'm sorry, maybe I don't have the exact answer for that. Then how do you explain this to your children or to family? Is only this thing is that how much will they need? How much will they, why are they wanting that? Why this want is there? Is this because another friend has, or is this because the requirement is there? Because nowadays I see so many times they really do require the laptop because schools give that kind of in presentations and projects also. So I've seen that, yes, this actually is a requirement. So you have to audit that also. What is the requirement and why is it, and then what you can do about it. I hope it helped you a bit, at least a bit.
Yeah, thanks, Vedika. I was specifically referring not to the requirements. Obviously, it's given that you have to provide those.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Mm-hmm.
specifically talking about what they get carried away by the peer pressure.
Yes,
Looking at
they
what they
do.
see on, like you said, if they have friends. See, many times what
Yes.
happens that obviously all of us attending this webinar today are all CIOs and CXOs. We are all service class people, right? And then they tend
Mm-hmm.
to compare themselves with business class people and who can have a much higher lifestyle. And it
Hmm.
doesn't mean somebody is buying a Ferrari. That means you also need to buy a Ferrari, right? So I
Right.
think that's where you have to make sure that you have those tough conversations with your family members, keep them grounded. That okay,
Yes.
while it's good to aspire for something, but you have to also do a reality check.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Vijay, for sharing this.
Thank you.
So thank you, Vijay. Anyone else having any thoughts or any questions, queries that you want to put forward? I think we are done with all the questions, queries, and sharing. So thank you, Vedika, for your time and sharing your experience on the conversations, how we can have it, and the various frameworks that you have shared and the resources that you shared with us. So we look forward to more conversations with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just on a closing note, and a little bit more about the book. As you say that, there are resources. Yes, most of the chapters will have some or the other, either the self-assessment or a link to the website to have that kind of an ebook download, e-workbook to download and, do the assessment. However, I do not call it any, it is as a manual for an communication or having a conversation. It isn't a compass or a navigation kind of a thing, but it's a companion. When you read this book, it will help you recognize your own unexplored conversations and sit with that emotional discomfort without rushing to fix. Understanding expectations before they become burdens. reclaiming agency in communication at least, and each chapter holds that space rather than offering any quick fixes. And on a closing note, if there is a conversation that keep returning to you in a silence, it's asking for your attention, not courage. Courage, definitely you do have that courage. And thoughtfulness begins where honesty meets the compassion. So again, another one is that you can have that conversation with a compassion for other person also, along with yourself. Show that same compassion to yourself also. And if today's conversation resonated with you, unexplored conversations and the idea of expectation detox, we invite you to pause, reflect, and gently return to yourself, one conversation at a time. And I wish I can see some of you in January in the free webinar of expectation detox.
Right. Thank you, Vedika. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you.